Hi friends, this is Margarita. Welcome to my channel or welcome back. So I put out a poll recently on my Facebook page, on my Instagram page, and here on my channel on YouTube. And I was asking you guys what you wanted to see from me next. And the majority of you wanted to see a video about how to deal with creative block. This is going to be 15 ways that you can deal with a creative block. What is a creative block? Basically, a creative block would be an inability to create, especially when you need to or you want to. And the reasons for creative blocks will vary depending on the person. It depends on your situation or what's going on in your life. Sometimes it could just be stress. Sometimes it could be just the overall overwhelm of life. It could be that you're very busy. It could be a lot of different things. But some of the main reasons, or what I'm going to talk about, is first, I find that most of my creative blocks come from creative burnout, right? At least that's what I would call it, just a burnout. I've been creative maybe for several days, sort of nonstop, maybe a week, 2 weeks, nonstop, and then suddenly I'm just spent. I've got nothing else to share because I've used it all up, and I am now at a creative burnout, and that might last a week. It could last a month. Sometimes you guys haven't seen videos from me for a long time, definitely months. A lot of times that's due to a creative block. Sometimes it's due to other just things in life, but a lot of times it does have to do with a creative block. Another reason for creative blocks, I have a bunch of notes here, but another reason that we might experience a creative block is just going a long time without creating. So if you find that you were creating regularly and then suddenly there's been a pretty big lapse in you being creative, when you return to wanting to be creative, you might experience a creative block. You might have a hard time getting started, getting ideas, feeling inspired, feeling motivated, and that can definitely be, frustrating. Another reason I find and again, I'm not an expert. I'm basing this on my personal experience or the experiences of other artists that I know. But another common reason for creative block is when you create for others and not yourself. You can definitely find yourself stuck because what you're creating is not coming intrinsically from your creative soul. It's coming from a deadline, a specific project, a requirement that you have to do that is not really coming from your natural creative flow. And the last reason I'm going to mention for a creative block could just be that you are afraid of making mistakes. You might come and encounter that blank page and freeze. And that happens, I think, to all of us. It can be very intimidating to see just a blank page and wanting to create something and feeling like it's got to be just right or it's got to be perfect, and if it's not, then it's not good enough. And that fear of it just not being good enough or not being something that we like, or even feeling like you're not going to have enough time to complete it, can hinder our creativity, and it can cause the creative block. So I'm now going to mention 15 different ways that you can try to deal with a creative block. Again, there are probably many more reasons, there are many more ways that you can handle this. My ways are not the only ways. My tips are not necessarily the right tips. This is just what I try and what helps me, and I hope will help you as well. So number one, using song lyrics, quotes, or poems, or stories to help spark some inspiration. It could even be your favorite movie. It could be a kid's movie. It could be Bible verses. It could be a book you just read. It could even be an article. Any type of written word can be inspiring. So, and what I mean by that is my example that I'm going to be showing here, and it is a list of just some of my favorite songs, or just some songs that I really like or that I've been listening to lately. and then kind of dissecting those lyrics to find something that is inspiring, that could motivate some creative spark. Something like, what can I take from this lyric? What could it be? Like colors? Could it be patterns? Could it be a motif? Could it be anything that I can sort of grab from the lyrics or the poem or the story that I can then use to be to make a creative project. Or it could even be a theme from based on the reading that you have chosen. Number 2 is looking outside or looking to nature for inspiration. Checking out leaves, flowers. What season is it? Is it summer? Beach balls, water, ocean, palm trees, sunglasses, bathing suits, sandals, beach towels. So is it fall? Falling leaves, pumpkins. You get what I mean, right? Winter, snow, bare trees, snow-peaked mountains. Is it spring, flowers, colors, all kinds of blooms? So yeah, so looking to nature or the season that you're currently in for inspiration. Number 3 would be visiting your favorite online websites or YouTube channels for inspiration. So a good one is Pinterest. Instagram. I find tons of inspiration on Instagram and tons of inspiration on Pinterest and tons of inspiration on YouTube. I have no shame in my game. I do watch some of my videos to inspire me when I'm going through a creative block. I will revisit some of my older videos to help spark some creativity, partly because I don't want to copy anybody else, but also because there are some videos I've made that I really like going back to. So yeah, you can visit some of your favorite YouTube creators and get some inspiration from them as well. There are also some online blogs that you can go to find inspiration. Card making blogs, magazines that are online, like Scrapbooking and Cards Today, I think is the name. Scrapbook and Cards Today is one that I really like to visit. I also love looking at catalogs for different like vendors, like Stampin' Up. Their catalogs are amazing. I love their catalogs. There's so much inspiration in there as well. So, finding old blog posts, old catalogs, basically use the internet to find inspiration that can spark that creativity and get you out of that creative block. Number 4 is creating a capsule for your art supplies for a specific type of craft. So I'm going to share with you the capsule that I've made for when I make spreads in my traveler's notebook or in my junk journal. And there are a lot of there are several supplies that I use consistently, and so I've made sure to include those things like washi tape and scissors and adhesive. I have a stapler, I have some writing mediums, some writing materials, and then some other materials that I know I might use or that I will use, some alpha letters, some stamps, ink, an acrylic block, that sort of thing. And I keep it all together in this little pouch. It's actually a travel pouch, and it allows me to use this limited amount of supplies to create with. And there are different ideas for capsules for the creative world out there, and you can have a capsule, if you're a painter, you can have a capsule with certain watercolors and brushes and certain materials that you might use for that. Christina Werner on YouTube, she also has a website and a blog and an Instagram, and she has a video, I think it's one of her older videos, where she talks about having a supplies capsule, and I think she's even got a PDF where she lists the types of capsules that you could make and what you could include in them. Number 5 is using the current or upcoming holiday. So if you've got holidays, depending on where you're from, that's going to be different. But if, I guess, you're from the US, we just had our 4th of July holiday, and summertime is usually like graduations and end of school. So let that also be an inspiration to you. What's the upcoming holiday? I know lots of people, and you know what? It doesn't even have to be upcoming. Because if you want to make Christmas cards in March, in July, in May, it doesn't matter. You make what you want. So you can pull a holiday out of a hat and use that to inspire you and make a project based on that holiday. It's really just a matter of getting you out of that block. Again, there are no rules here. This is for ourselves. We do it for us, and it's just a way of getting us creative. And also based on how, I guess, if you want to use your current holiday or whatever's upcoming, then you can visit some craft supply stores, maybe Michael's, Joann's, whatever's your local craft store, and see what type of holiday or seasonal things they have in the store. You don't have to buy anything. You can take some snapshots of some projects or ideas or supplies or anything that you find inspiring, and then come back home, look through your stash, see what you have that might be similar to what you've seen that you liked, and you can try and create something in that way. It doesn't have to be complicated. You can even visit just like a home decorating store like Marshall's or whatever whatever home stores you have, and just see what they have. Sometimes I find really pretty inspiring motifs and things on like sofa cushions, couch covers, on blankets, on scarves, on hats. I mean, you can find inspiration pretty much everywhere or anywhere. And so yeah, as far as seasonal things, that's a good way to get inspired and find some spark, that you can bring back and use to be creative. Number 6 would be recreating a past project that you love. We all have like one project that we are super proud of, that we want to frame it, we want to save it forever, we also want to show everyone. So find a project that you've made like that, and then find a way to recreate it. Maybe use different materials or different supplies, different mediums. You can even turn your project upside down or change its orientation and see what happens, see what comes from that. Sometimes looking at things from different perspectives can help spark something. You'd be surprised. You can also just try a different pattern with that older project, creating new patterns, new colors, new material. Maybe make it into a mosaic or collage, and that might be a way to help you create something different, and you've been able to create, gets you going. Number 7 would be implementing warm-up exercises, maybe for a few days. You don't have to do warm-up and immediately do a project, but there are quite a few different types of art warm-ups that you could try, and if you're interested, let me know. I can include some videos on different exercises and warm-ups that you could do. But basically, you could try something like drawing a grid on a piece of paper, and in each grid use your non-dominant hand to scribble, and then take a look at it. What does it look like? And here, I'll show an example of that. So these are basically scribbles that I made with my non-dominant hand, and after I've completed the scribbles, no coloring, no titles, just squares, scribbles, put book away, return to book in a few hours, look at it again, and then what do you see, right? Like, what does it look like? For this one, I thought it looked like an owl, so I drew an owl. I'm sorry, it's like kind of fuzzy and blurry, but if I open the blinds, it's going to be way too bright. So I'm hoping this is going to be okay. This one kind of looked like a butterfly, so we went with that. And yeah, then I limited myself to only 3 colors. So I've got pink, blue, and purple, and then I just colored them all in with different patterns and markings. And so that's a good warm-up to get you, feeling more creative. Other things might be meditative, slow mark making, might be making swatches. It could be and an example of the swatches, I have one of those too. So here are some swatches based on certain images that I pulled out from a nature book. And so here you've got these berries, and then I created this swatch based on what colors I could see in here, right? And then I just collaged that onto this page and for me, that felt really good. It felt like I was being creative. I didn't have to think too much. I got to use some materials and some supplies, and it helped me to feel more creative. Number 8 would be doing some lettering or graffitiing or bubble lettering or whatever you think you would feel comfortable with. I had, back in my teens, a sketchbook, probably like there's one of these just bigger, where I would just write my name on every page. Anytime I wanted to be creative and I had no ideas, I would just write my name. It would either be in bubble letters, it would be square letters, 3D, different markers, different crayons, sometimes colors, sometimes no colors, sometimes stripes, dots, lines, grids, whatever you can think of. Just writing your name or words or quotes or the alphabet in different ways. Or you can find maybe just some wording that you find inspiring and just write that over and over and over. Or you could take, sort of like we talked about earlier with song lyrics or poem, and then write that in different directions on your paper. So sorry, I was looking for this, but so this is just one of those practices. I just wrote a bunch of different sentences from a book and in different writing, so some scripts, some print, in some black ink, some red ink. I use different pens, and this is also a good way to get yourself creating without thinking too much about it, just making. Number 9 would be using Google or Instagram or Pinterest to get some prompts that might help you. There are also prompts. There are prompts for all kinds of things. There are prompts for sketching, for card making, for scrapbooking. There are there are prompts for painting. There are prompts for writing. There are prompts for all types of creative practices. So doing something like a challenge where you're getting a prompt per day could also help spark some inspiration, some motivation, and some ideas. Number 10 is tracing an object and then drawing something inside of it. I usually like to trace my hand. It's something I've done forever. Trace my hand and then draw something inside of it. It could be sky, it could be rainbow, it could be marks, stripes, dots, squares, grid. It could be flowers. This is an example of that, where I traced my hand. Wrong one. Traced my hand in there, and then I gave myself some rings and doodled some flowers, and try not to think about it too much. I actually made this like while I was watching TV, but I wanted to be creative and I didn't have any ideas, and so I did that. And it obviously doesn't have to be your hand. It could be some other object. It can be your foot. It could be anything. It could be a shape. You could draw a heart and then draw in there. You could draw circles and then draw in the circles, squares, whatever you feel you'll be comfortable with. Number 11 is making some collages with scrap paper, with magazine paper, with junk mail paper. You can even color on paper in different colors and cut that out to make collage paper from that. And your collage is going to be monochromatic, so it doesn't have to be. There's no have to anything, right, in art, especially in my world. I'm trying to find so an example of that would be like this little booklet that I made, where each page I just collaged a bunch of scrap papers that had some type of red. The next one is orange, right? This was something I have punched some little flowers out of, and I used it there. This is the yellow scraps, and then we have green, blue, indigo, violet. So I made, and pink. So I made a different monochromatic collage on each page. And now this is a zine, so it's like a bigger paper that has a slit there in the middle. And then, you know, you put those pages, those folds in a way that creates this little book. Now, if you are a card maker, you probably have a bunch of blank card bases or just, you know, plain cards. It doesn't even have, it could be, it could have stuff. It could be old greeting cards. It could be like, you know, boring looking thank you cards you find at the dollar store. It doesn't matter what it is, just, you know, you can put them together and make a little booklet. So this is a little booklet that I made using a few blank cards, and then I just stapled them in the middle, and I made this little booklet. So this little booklet, I could do the same thing, just grab a bunch of scrap papers and just make a monochromatic collage on each page using a different color scheme. Number 12 would be shopping your stash. So I have a really small craft corner, but I've got a lot of stuff. And because I have so many things in this very small space, I've got stuff shoved everywhere. And so I tend to forget what I have. So sometimes when I'm going through a creative block, I will go through my stuff and I will basically like shop like I'm at a store. Except I don't have to actually buy anything. I'm just remembering stuff that I had that I forgot about, and or reorganizing certain things, and then, you know, that's sort of like shopping my stash. And then I'll see some things that I haven't seen in a while, or I might just grab some materials from different areas and then just try to create one super quick thing without really thinking about it. Like I might be like, oh hey, I forgot I had this stencil. I don't think I've ever used it. Let me just slap it on this piece of paper and, you know, grab a crayon or whatever I can find and just test it out. And just that alone will help me feel more creative. You know, I might say, I like that pattern, let me cut it out and put it on a card base. So that's just an example. But yeah, shopping my stash also helps me a lot when it comes to getting over a creative block. Number 13 is sketching a little like comic strip sort of, or a grid of some of your daily activities. So or an event. It could be something memorable that you just did. So like this past weekend I went to the Central Park Zoo, so I might draw a little grid story type thing with, you know, pictures, like just quick doodles or sketches of what I saw when I was there, or what that was like, or I might include some wording for how I felt, or if you didn't do some event or go someplace memorable, and you want to just kind of jot down some basic daily activities, you can do that as well. So an example would be like this grid right here, where this is just something I saw on my walk to my son's school to pick him up. We've got a cardinal, some hanging laundry, a hydrant, and a mailbox. And I use some markers to color these in, and I just use like out of the box or out of the normal like color scheme. So, you know, my sky is green, here's gray, here's orange, here's green again. Doesn't have to be blue, you know, but it's just a way of being creative without thinking too much. Now your art doesn't have to be good. It can be stick figure, it can be little square, whatever you are comfortable with, whatever your level is. It is really just a matter of, again, being creative, doing something creative without having to think too much, because that's what I find is the key to getting over a creative block, is actually creating without thinking about it. You can also do something like this. So I did this. This technique is actually based on a class that I took, and I will include the name of the instructor and the class in the description box. But I think this was a class. I'm not going to say it because I don't want to say the wrong one, but I'll include it in the comment section. I mean, in the description box. And so this is basically a what I'm grateful for today page with little doodles and notes on what I'm actually grateful for that day. It could be something as simple as sleeping in. And when you're a parent, you know you don't always get to sleep in. So that's And so when you're a parent, you don't get to sleep in. So this is something I was grateful for that day. Another thing is the morning doves singing outside. Another one was a smooth homeschool day, eating pizza and having nice coffee, etc. You know, whatever your little grateful moments are for the day. It also reminds us to be grateful for those little things, and it reminds us to be humble and be happy with what we have, right? Number 14 is trying a new technique or a new material that you have, a new tool, a new medium, a new anything, new color paint, new marker set, something you have that you haven't tried yet that's already in your stash, or something you would like to try. Sometimes try different shading techniques for sketching. I try different lettering or different markers that I want to test out. I might try a origami technique, something I haven't done. I might try to doodle in, you know, a way I haven't, or sketch in something that I haven't thought of before. So just something new that I could try out, that I'm not going to feel pressure to be perfect, because obviously I'm trying it out for the first time. Number 15 might sound a little juvenile, but it is coloring in a coloring book. They have adult coloring books, so it doesn't have to be juvenile, but I like these kind of books. They bring me back to my childhood because I loved coloring. But not just coloring in a coloring book, but coloring and using different shading, different markings. So like, for example, with the little lion here, I didn't just color him, like I added little whiskers, and I added these like lines for his mane, and even the sky I kind of made sure I added some little like what do you call these, like little stripes for like shooting stars or whatever, and I added different colors. So yeah, just trying different things with coloring, not just like plain coloring. Not that you can't do that, and I'm always going to say that, not that you can't do that. You do whatever you're comfortable with. But I have found that coloring is another way that I can feel creative without feeling pressured, without feeling like I have a deadline, and it helps me to get a flow going. So those are all 15 tips. I hope you try one or more, or whatever you would like to try. I do have a bonus tip, and that is trying out free art classes online. And obviously YouTube is a great source for free art classes of all types, levels, all types of materials, all types of styles. And there are also other classes online. For example, every year I participate in the Sketchbook Revival series, which lasts a few weeks. I think it's every March. And so if you I'll link the web page in the description box as well, so you can check in. Obviously it's over for this year, but you can check in when the next one will be. There's also the willowing.org. I don't know if it's .com or .org, but the Willowing Taster Week, is it called the Lifebook Taster Week? And there you will find free art classes as well for 1 week. You can try out different classes for different types of techniques and mediums and projects. Then you have the Woman Unleashed, is another online retreat that is free. And again, just Google these and see what information you find for when the next ones are. These have all already passed. There are some that I have tried personally that I like and enjoy. There's Workshop Week. Again, that one has passed. It's only 1 week. There is also Joy Ting's Painting with Joy, and I think she has like a once a month free class on her YouTube channel as well. And you can sign up through the email, or subscribe to her emails, and then she'll send you an email when the class is up. And there's also upcoming Art is Magic Creative Retreat Weekend. I think that one's about to start, so by the time this video comes out, it might not be available. But again, these are just some things that you can Google, maybe sign up for, put your email in there, get on the email list so that you get notifications for when those free classes are going to be available. This is not sponsored. Also, like, these are just stuff that I've tried that I like that you might find helpful. And there's also there are also subscription-based classes that you could take. There's Creative Bug, there's Craftsy, there's Domestica, there's did I say Creative Bug? I did. There's Big Picture classes. There are so many subscription-based programs out there that you could even try out for free. You can try them out for a month for free. If you like them, you can subscribe if you can afford it. If not, you can cancel it. I've done that too. And then, it gives you a chance to try some things, at least to kind of give you a jump start for feeling creative again, especially if you've been having a hard time. And other things I might recommend are buying a class or two. 1 or 2 classes that you own that you can always revisit. And I think I've done that quite often with Craftsy. I've purchased some like card making classes on there that I do tend to revisit often, and those help to inspire me as well. So I hope this wasn't too long. I hope you found this helpful. I do hope you give it a try. If I miss anything, be sure to include it in the comments. If you have anything that you've tried or you're planning to try, let me know in the comments. Yeah, hit me up, give me ideas. Let me know if you want to see some videos where I can show you some of the warm-up exercises for getting creative, or maybe even some of these other projects. If you want to see something in detail, pretty much any one of these tips could become a video. So just let me know what you guys think, let me know what you feel, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.